We delivered supplies and service, and things went okay. Okay, this became working again. This became something that we have to pay attention to. So this was supply chain. Yes, thank you. And we're back. So I think that we just nothing to connect. So when it comes to supply chain, yes, I think the concern is over, but we need to make sure that we implement what we learned and we move forward more resilient, because we do things better. Next is inflation, and we keep hearing all these news about inflation, and at the beginning, if you remember the beginning of 2022, there was this term called frictional inflation. Everybody talked about frictional inflation. Why is there inflation? Why is it picking up? Because of scarcity, because there's not enough materials, and shipping is slower and so on. Less supply, same demand, prices going up. But then supply chain started to improve, and there was still inflation. So I remember a statement coming from the Fed in the US saying it's transitional inflation. It was a new term, transitional. Meaning that it's temporary, it will go away. Everything is temporary, and everything goes away. Eventually, it's just inflation for the same bad old reasons that inflation exists. After governments push a lot of quantitative easing, a lot of cash into the markets, at a certain point, when things recover, inflation picks up. And there's one way to treat it, which is increasing interest. And the good news is that what the central banks are doing is working. One, okay, they know what they're doing, it's good news. And two, is that it's happening not at great cost. Because usually, and if you look at our period of time here, the orange line is the inflation, the consumer price index. And you see that it peaked, this is US data, it peaked and almost touched the 10%, was 8 point something percent, and then with interest rate increases, it started dropping. But usually, when central banks increase the interest rate, the first thing that happens is that the economy cools down, the growth slows down, companies are suffering, unemployment increasing, usually is the first sign of a recession, and things go wrong. But look at the blue line here. The unemployment rate, nothing, it's just flat. Okay, so actually the measures that were taken were measured, and it's happening not at great cost, and this is great news, because they could easily overdo it. So, current predictions is that there's going to be a soft landing at around 2% in the US, between 2 to 3% in other countries, which is the normal, the old normal that we like, and we can say that we are on the trajectory to a happy end there. These are some employment data coming from North America, and you can see that unemployment around 3.5, 3.7, 3.8, small changes, quite flat. Many jobs are still created, hundreds of thousands of jobs are being created. But now you probably think to yourself, what am I getting wrong here? Do you? Because you keep hearing these, or reading these headlines about big layoffs in these big IT companies, with Microsoft and Google and Facebook, Meta today, and Salesforce. Every now and then you see a headline about layoffs of many people. So what's the story? Unemployment is still at bay, but all these layoffs, what's the disconnect? And it's always good to look at it in the greater context. And when you look at the greater context, you need to look at least 2-3 years back. And the green in the chart on the left, the green bars are the wave of hiring during the pandemic years. All these companies hired many people during these last 3 years. And when you look at the red bars, the layoffs in these years, they're just a small portion, a small correction compared to this hiring wave. So yes, the headlines are there, but in terms of unemployment and the influence on the economies, we are relatively on the safe side of it. So don't forget, fear sells news. So nothing is as bad or as good as it looks in the news. So I think that we have established by now that in terms of inflation, in terms of job cuts, yes, there's volatility, things change, nothing is static, never, but that's natural, and nothing really bad is happening. Next are the volatile markets and the actual growth forecast for countries, and many times these are correlated. And there, the best is to look at some leading indexes, and I chose to look at the S&P 500 index and look at it. Isn't it beautiful? So you can see the peak just before March 2020, when countries started closing down, all the limiting measures started influencing the economy, and there was like a local crash. So there was a peak there. And you can see the point in time, I think it was 2 days ago, and this is what happened in the Industrial Revolution, this is what happened with e-commerce, and it will continue happening, and there's nothing new about it. This is a great example of our customer in China, Henan Yinai. It's Yinai, it's not Yin AI, okay? They are making photo products, and they are great innovators with a fully automated workflow. They invested a lot in automation. What's also important is that innovation is not only in technology, it's not only in your manufacturing equipment, it's not even only in the products you make and what you bring to the market that others don't. It's also in business models. In who do we work with, who do you sell to and with, who are your channel partners. They partnered with S&P ProLabs and photo studios to sell their photo products, and of course also innovated in products, and see what an amazing, close to 70% CAGR in years that are considered in China to be very tough. Just remember, just in January, China really opened up back, and this is great growth trajectory in a very tough time. A great example. This is a great other example leading to my next story. And you can see two ways to use AI. We talked about AI just earlier this morning. I love AI. And you look at what Coca-Cola did with it, creating, and they declared that they are creating some of their marketing materials using AI tools. So this is something that we as consumers don't feel. We just see the result of it, whether the person did it or a machine or an AI tool, it doesn't matter. This is how we interact with the brand. But when you look at what Sephora did with it, it's putting an AI to our face, right? Literally to our face. We see that we interact with AI, demonstrating how certain makeup will look on your face. I didn't try it myself. I don't look good in makeup, but this is really, really, really exciting. And think about it, 2-3 years ago, who would have thought, right? So that's exciting. We in HP, when the phones were not distorted, we in HP also have generative tools. We create versioning using seeds and affinic transformations to create many versions of designs with print elements, with our workflow solutions and software. This is not based on AI, but it is also generating automatically designs. I played yesterday with DALL-E, and I asked it to design the graphics for a stage backdrop for Dscoop Bali Digital Printer Summit 2023. Okay? And first result that came, and I didn't fix it, I didn't try again, I didn't regenerate, was this. A lot of gibberish in the middle, forget about the gibberish, but look at the design. Not bad. Not a bad start, right? Probably a few corrections and a few more requests, and it will be something quite good. It looks good on the screen, like as a backdrop. I like better what we have, but that's a good start. And think about what AI can do to generate graphic designs to be used by printers. Quite amazing, apart from the text. Back to our industry, we have a few customers sitting in this room. You can see your names, EPAC and Supernova and FlexiPack, and this booming industry of flexible packaging. And the interesting part in this story is in the small numbers in the text. 61% of the Indonesia GDP is coming from SMEs. Remember, 61%. How much of the workforce do they employ? 96%. Now let's flip it. It means that 4% of the labor force is generating close to 40% of the GDP. There's a huge difference in productivity. And how do you know packaging is an important solution for ground pollution? So, this brings almost to an end my session. I call you to lead with innovation. You're always sitting here, listening to all the innovation in the last 2 days, implementing a lot in your businesses, leading the industry with the latest and greatest technology, methods, applications. You lead with innovation because you know that you either improve, offer more innovation in the market, use innovation to improve your productivity, and then you find yourself in the profit zone that allows you to reinvest and maintain your position. And if you don't do that, you're in a red ocean. That's where we are. Not there, in the profit zone. Okay? So, and we try to stay humble, but we are proud to show this many times. The volume growth of the analog industry, offset and flexos, of looking at the broader context of the industry, growing at less than 1%, and between 20 and 22, a little bit of strange years, I know, with everything that happened back then. Digital was growing double that in terms of volume. And Indigo and PWP, our engine solutions, grew almost 8 times that. And we are very proud of that. We know that it's not because of HP, it's because of you and what you do with the presses, with the solutions, with your own innovation, in methods, in business models, in applications, and we're happy to be part of this cycle. You are winning by racing to the top, and we thank you for that. That's it from me today. Enjoy the rest of the event and see you around.